Working on a show called Uncommon Ground. We ask some questions like things like, these days, do you believe everything you see on TV? Like on the news, do you believe everything they say on the news?
Not really.
No. Yeah, most people don't these days, especially after what we've seen for the past year or so, right?
Like with all this COVID stuff, like yeah, like of course I listen to that, but the rest of it, no, not really.
Right, understood. So what about when, like on the news or any kind of media, when they say that scientists have proven such and such, or scientists claim, do you believe every bit of that?
No.
It
Depends what you're
It depends, all right? You might want to look into it. Okay, cool.
Always.
So then, if you don't mind me asking, do you believe that the Earth is a ball spinning around in space? Like a spherical Earth globe?
I'm not. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Out there.
Yeah, I'm just curious what you believe. So then, if you wouldn't mind, what would you say is the best proof for you that tells you that we live on a ball, that Earth is a globe?
Oh man, I have to go up there, man.
Yeah. That leads me to this. Do you believe in like an afterlife? Would you say like a heaven or something like that?
At some point, I feel like we just, once we die, our energy just transfers into something else.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So if there were like a heaven, maybe like the Bible says, where would you think it would be if it did?
I think everybody has their own heaven.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's different for everybody. You don't just go to a certain place. I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah, so we get to kind of choose where we go or what happens when we die?
Honestly, yeah, I guess. Yeah, like that.
Understood. So then like that would mean like we were kind of gods in that sense.
We're our own gods, man.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, so in the garden, right, back when Adam and Eve, I don't know if you believe all this stuff, but back when Adam and Eve were doing their thing, the snake, the devil came up and said, you can be as gods and that you can choose for yourself what's right and wrong. Did God really say? And so he got them to doubt the belief in God by saying, you can be God yourself. So that was the very first lie ever told in recorded history. Have you ever heard that?
No, I haven't.
That's all right. Well, so last question, brother. Has anybody ever told you that the God of the Bible describes the world that he created for us as a house with roofs and that we live inside of that house? Has anybody ever told you that the Bible is a flat earth book and that it's got a dome over the earth?
No, that's the first time hearing it.
Yeah. Well, think about this. So if we live on a ball spinning in space surrounded by a vacuum of outer space, then how do we have like atmosphere, like breathable pressurized gas? Because if it exists next to a vacuum, then the vacuum should suck it all off, and then we shouldn't be able to breathe.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, all right. So air pressure can only exist within a container. Yeah, so that's why God created a container over our heads. And so every time you're seeing the sun, the moon, and the stars going around in circles over our head, it's because that's what they're really doing. They're going around in circles over our head, just like we see with our own senses. So when science and the TV and the news and the media might try to tell you that we live on a ball spinning in space and we evolved from monkeys, can we test these things?
No.
We should try, maybe.
Yeah,
because nobody wants to be lied to. Nobody wants to believe lies. Well, brother, my name's Wes Blaze. What was yours?
I'm Kevin, man.
Kevin, pleasure to meet you, brother. Absolutely. I appreciate your time, man. All I would suggest is, man, I wish somebody would have told me when I was your age to kind of look into things, to question more instead of just believing what we're told blindly. Because I found out through my studies, intent research for years now, that the God of the Bible is real, that the Bible is absolutely true. There's archaeological evidence, there's prophetic evidence for it, and that he said that this world is a much different place the way he created it than what they tell us in the school books and on NASA, right? So NASA lies, Jesus is real. Check it out, brother. I appreciate your time. God bless you.
What's your name, brother?
Philip.
Philip, all right. Thanks for joining me here. Is Genesis 1 literal or figurative?
Literal.
It's literal? Okay, awesome. So you're of the opinion that the Bible teaches that the Creator, he made everything in 6 days. And I know there's a lot of debate on the word yom, in the Hebrew, and like, is that an age or is that a 24-hour time period? And so you're under the impression that it's speaking of a 24-hour time period.
Well, not necessarily, because God is outside of time. He created time itself, so for him, I believe that for him, like a day could be however many years it is for us. So,
okay,
not necessarily 24 hours.
Okay. Now, there's a peculiar passage in Genesis 1. It's in the first 8 verses. And in verse 6, it talks about the waters that were divided. Half of them went above, half of them went below. And they were divided by this thing in the Hebrew that they calls it the rakia, or the firmament. Historically, according to the concordances and the lexicons, the firmament is described as something that's a solid structure dividing the waters above from where we live, basically enclosing us. Some translations speak about the firmament, like in Amos 9:6, as a solid arched dome. What's your opinion on that? Is that literal or figurative?
If you wouldn't mind if I open that passage.
It's fine, brother. Yeah, that's fine.
I don't recall exactly. You said Genesis 1.
Genesis 1, 6 through 8. I mean, it starts in verse 2, right? After the Spirit hovers over the waters of the deep. And then it kind of concludes in verse 8. I'm not sure what translations you guys are going off of. But
so, God called the expanse heaven. There was evening and there was morning the second day.
Now that you have a translation that calls it the expanse.
Yeah, I have the ESV.
Okay, yeah, that's it. I use that one sometimes too. That word expanse, actually, they get that from the Greek, from the Greek word stereoma, which also means a solid structure. So what does that make you think about? How do you react to something like that? You're making the same responses I made when someone asked me these questions.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
It's okay.